Well, hello and happy end of March. I've been talking to a lot of gardening friends who feel like they're a little behind because we've had such a early onset of spring weather here and warm weather, so everything feels accelerated. But I know I looked in the forecast, and coming up soon there's actually snow in the forecast. So that means it's not too late, and we've already created a video on what to plant in March in the Pacific Northwest. And all of that really still applies. You're not too late. So to me, April is about catching up on what I should have planted in March. And like, for instance, I have a bunch more peppers I want to plant that I'll be planting on heat mats. And you can see our video about starting tomatoes and other things like peppers and eggplants using heat mats in trays. And then I'm also really thinking right now about what other spring greens did I not plant, planting another succession of salad greens, because sometimes they'll bolt when we get warm weather. Particularly, I'm talking about arugula, the mustard, spinach. So planting successive waves so you have a continuous salad garden. And if you're a new gardener, I think those easy to grow salad greens, lettuce, the mustards, arugula, spinach, Swiss chard, that kind of thing, is the low-hanging fruit, because growing more challenging vegetables like carrots takes more skill and effort, but the salad greens grow quickly and get part of your meals, and what you're eating is happening from your garden, and that reward loop is really important. And I'll drop a link to, I created an easy, medium, difficult chart for the commonly grown vegetables. And if you're new to gardening, stay in the easy one. Things like carrots and melons and long season flower corn are actually quite difficult to grow, and things like eggplant, particularly here in the north. So ensure your success by growing things that you'll be successful with. So I'm also going to be planting some more sweet peas, snap peas for eating, just in case we have a cooler, easy, early summer period, and just to continue one of my favorite vegetables, which is snap peas. So here in my hand, I've got some sugar snap peas. I already have some going, both in a greenhouse and outside, but I love eating fresh peas, so I want them to be happening as long as possible, but they do not like the heat, so it's a bit of a gamble. So other things I'm thinking about right now, this time of year, like early April, which is next week, is all the flowers. So in that, like today, I'm going to be planting straw flowers. If you're not familiar with them, they're beautiful fresh in bouquets, but you can also dry them. I'm planting another succession of lettuce, but this time I'm planting a romaine lettuce. This one's called crisp mint, and the romaines tend to be more bolt resistant and can handle some heat. So things like butter lettuce, those ones are more susceptible to bolting and becoming bitter when the hot weather comes on. So your romaines are great for your summer salads, and that's like really where the whole Caesar salad came in. I'm also starting some herbs that are flowers as well. So I'm planting some echinacea, which I should have done before, but I forgot about it, and now I'm going to get that going, which is a beautiful perennial, makes flowers for blooms, but also medicine in the flowers, leaves, and roots. I'm planting celosia. This one, the Century Mix, is another excellent everlasting flower. And so I'm thinking about late fall making wreaths and garlic braids with everlasting bloom. So I want to make sure I have some of that so I can gather together with friends and family and do garden craft projects. I'm also thinking about my late season pollinators and having blooms late in the year. So this is lion's tail, or lion's ear is another common name for it, and it's in the mint family. It can grow 6 to 8 feet tall, and when I was in Kenya 2 years ago, it was a wild plant all over the place, and particularly hummingbirds are very fond of it. I'm also planting today Mexican sour gherkin, so I'm getting into planting my cucurbits. So if you want to get a jump start on cucumbers, melons, and that related family, I tend to wait where we're at here in the mountains. We're in the foothills of 7,000 foot mountain for things like planting muskmelons, cantaloupes till May 1st. But this one grows slower, so I'm going to start it now around April 1st. I'm starting another perennial flower called gaillardia. This is also commonly known as the wildflower blanket flower. You see it in eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, Idaho area. It's a seed crop for us, but I really like having those perennials because once you get them started, they just reward you with a lot of stuff. And also zinnias. The zinnias are related to sunflowers. They grow pretty fast, but I think you're going to be much better off growing starts. So this is one called Zinnia Dreamin' Mix that is very popular for us as a seed company. We tend to sell out quickly, so I'm going to be starting this in soil blocks. And we've got videos about how to make potting soil and also make soil blocks. And I find you just get really good establishment by starting things like zinnias inside. And in that same category, I would apply to cosmos and marigolds. So zinnias, cosmos, and marigolds are all in the Asteraceae, so they all have very similar growth requirements. And possibly even sunflowers, but sunflowers being a bigger seed, I find they grow more quickly. So I tend to wait if I'm going to start them, and they're really easy to direct seed. So our greenhouse is going to start to feel really full, so I've got to think about what can I put off on direct seeding versus starting indoors. So other flowers that you may want to consider is really any of your annual garden flowers, because for here we look at, like, it's the end of March, the end of May being when we can plant outside. So that's 8 weeks away. And you'll look on a lot of seed packets, say start 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. So if you're a really organized gardener, you have a planting calendar and you put on there little reminders of when you should start things. And we've got a planting calendar that you can download as a PDF and put it on your fridge in a spot to remind you. We also have germination guides that my coworker Taryn developed that are very specific, categorized for vegetables, flowers, culinary herbs, and medicinal herbs with do the seeds need light, how deep to plant them, what's the ideal soil temperature, all the information you'd want to know, because it's a lot to have in your head. So we have those available. If you scroll to the bottom of our homepage, there's an easy link called germination charts. You can download colorful PDFs, maybe even laminate them, because there's a lot of information in there. Because we do all our own germination tests, we have actual local knowledge for this, that we want you to be successful. So even for myself, I can't keep all that stuff in my head. Like, does strawflower need light to germinate or not? So it's nice to have a handy reference chart that you can go to. So we'll have that, also a link for that in the video description here below. And begin to be thinking about your garden organization, like which bed is going to be which, because if you're like me, you've already got some things planted early in the garden and you only have so much space. Same out in our farm fields. So I really need to budget how much space I'm going to allocate for things like melons and sweet corn and tomatoes once they go out in the field. And if you're new to all this, we have a number of different garden planning guides. So they're just these charts of like, hey, if you've got a 100 square foot garden, maybe you could do this. A 400 square foot garden, of the types of things that you might want to plant. Obviously, if you're a more experienced gardener, you might be like, I don't need to grow okra, or you need a whole bed of okra. So thinking about all that ahead of time is really valuable. And there's a lot of colloquial sayings like April showers bring May flowers, or one you've heard me repeat is the gardener's shadow is the best fertilizer. I can't really think of one about garden planning, but it can't be overemphasized that if you're organized now, you ensure a successful planting season and successful abundant yields later in the summer and fall, when that's what you hopefully are going for. So hopefully this helped you out, and we'll have another one follow-up on what to plant in May. And check out our website for an incredible offering of over 700 varieties of organic, open pollinated, and heirloom vegetables, flowers, herbs, and small grains. One that I forgot to add, this is a little addendum, PS, is if you want to grow amaranth or quinoa, which are two easy to grow grains you can grow in your garden, now might be the time to start them inside the greenhouse. So especially if you're new to planting it, you can do it that way by transplanting them. All right, so hope everything grows great for you, and happy spring.